Catherine, this essay is just so hard to write. I'm just getting so exhausted.
Maybe we should just take a nap real quick.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea.
Jesse, wake up.
Who is that?
What are you talking about? There's nobody there.
Boop, she's gone.
Who are you?
I'm the Bible fairy, and I've heard that you've been having problems writing the biblical narrative, and I'm here to help.
That is true.
Well, I'm going to show you where you belong in the biblical narrative using this book as a guide. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Boop.
Where are we?
Bible Fairy headquarters.
Whatever.
What? Everyone's on lunch break.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. What do you need help with?
So basically, I have to write this essay for my biblical literature class that has to cover the plot of the Bible, the main theme, the aspects of the textbook that you keep talking about. We have to discuss the connection of the Old Testament and the New Testament, the place of the church in the biblical narrative, and also the church in ours. And I have to find new findings of this new biblical narrative.
Okay. Biblical narrative what? I'm playing. I got it up. Okay. So we're going to start with the main aspects of the Bible.
Gotcha.
The world started in chaos, right?
Correct.
Okay. God came. He brought peace. Then he made creation. We sinned, exile, redemption. And it's just same repeating factor in the Bible.
Like a pattern.
Yes. Leading all the way up to
Jesus.
Yes. But at the time, we were still sinning, as always. That's always going to happen. But since the death of Jesus, he was the solution. He's the reason why now we have this never-ending peace and this never-ending redemption.
So you would say that there was a pattern in our Bible that which then of chaos, forgiveness, and chaos, then that which led to the climax of the actual story, meaning Jesus came, and we had a problem of sinning,
Yes.
and the solution to the problem was Jesus' death.
Yes. And his love. God's love.
God's love is always good.
Yes. Okay. Now moving on to the main theme.
Boop. Where are we at now?
Outside, duh.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So what does the covenant have to do with the main theme?
Well, the covenant was the beginning promise between God and man.
Okay.
A promise of his love and his forgiveness.
Love and forgiveness.
Yes, to the Israelites.
Yes. So how does this end? How does this lead to our end goal?
It leads to our end goal because in that covenant, we had to promise that we would go out and give the gospel to other nations, tell them about Jesus Christ and God's love. And that's what we're supposed to be doing.
So the end goal is to spread God's love.
Yes. Off to the key aspects of our book.
Boop, boop. Where are we at now?
We're back at headquarters.
Oh, again.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously you've read the book.
Correct.
Do you think you can give me any key points about it?
Of course, of each act.
Yes.
So Act 1, it basically talked about how the earth was created and actually who was God. Act 2 covered our major problem, which was sinning. Act 3 was how the covenant was born, and that God wanted us to restore his kingdom by spreading his love. Then it went into the intertestamental period, which covered all the displacement of the Jews, also known as diaspora. Then going on to Act 4, it was the birth of Jesus and him coming to earth. Then we have Act 5, which covered the death of Jesus and his resurrection after his crucifixion. And then it moved on to our last act, which was 6, and it talked about John's vision of restoration.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about how the Old Testament branches off into the New Testament.
Okay.
See, the Old Testament provided a lesson to the future.
So you're saying that the Old Testament made predictions about the New Testament, and they came true?
Yes. Now moving on to the place of the church.
Okay.
In the Bible, Jesus is the Word and the church. And the church is actual believers.
So you're saying that the church and believers go hand in hand because without Jesus and God, there would be no church. And without church, there would be no Jesus and God.
Yes. So Jesse, after our whole adventure, what did you learn from this?
Well, Fairy Gabby, what you've taught me today is that the Bible is actually a story itself. It's one whole narrative, and it's not just a book of just random stories. They all lead to one another. Also, that there's many meanings to what's said in the Bible. It's not just to be interpreted by one way. And lastly, what I've learned is that church is not just one place. Church can actually be anywhere as long as it's a group of people who have the same common belief.
You've done well, Jesse.
I know what I have to write about.